he was gonna be in that. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's move on. We've got this clip from Sky News Australia. A little bit different than the Meat Canyon video. It's House of the Dragon tackles misogyny head on, because we definitely don't have enough shows coming out nowadays that tackle misogyny.
Bit of entertainment now. The stars of House of Dragon promise that this series won't recreate a legacy. That's in reference to its highly successful predecessor, The Game of Thrones. The cast and crew say it'll be more diverse than the original and tackles misogyny head on. Danica DiGiorgio filed this report from Los Angeles. Also, I will say, because allegedly, so I was watching a review, I think it was Jeremy John's review of House of the Dragons, and so at the end, I'm gonna give a spoiler, a slight spoiler of Game of Thrones, but I mean, who cares? Because people don't really like the ending of it anyways. So the person who ends up on the throne is a woman. The woman ends up on the top at the end, and people are kind of all like, okay. And Jeremy Johnson's video was like, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense, but then it kind of did, because she had some sort of monster with her that she was using to intimidate people or whatever. He was like, well, this is a very heteronormative system, kind of like very patriarchal, so it didn't really make sense to me that they wouldn't be as intimidated about it. So I think that one way House of the Dragon could, you know, in a fair way, tackle misogyny is kind of show how some of those barriers were broken down to where, you know, a woman leading in that capacity, in that capacity, wouldn't have been so stigmatized. That's like one angle they could go with it. But also, I hate it when you do these prequel series that throw in like more. Oh, hey, are you understand? Okay, okay. Hold on, let me hold up, chat. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, y'all. I had to check up on something real quick. All right, so what I was saying was, the one thing I don't like about all of these prequel series that then go and add in diversity is because basically the only way in universe where that makes sense is basically you have a society where everything's diverse, and then there's a massive genocide, and then all you have left is white people. Like, that's like how the Lord of the Rings show, Rings of Power, has to go, because it'll be impossible to like, oh, look, we've got like all these different people from all over the country, you know, all these different color skin tones from all over the rainbow. And then how come 300 years later, everybody is white? They all died? We had Viking Nazis? Like, how are they going to explain this? I don't know. Ahead of today's much anticipated release of episode 1.
The chemistry between Steve Toussaint and Eve Best on and off House of the Dragon is palpable.
Eve and Steve, you've got rhyming names, you play husband and wife in the series.
It was all planned.
It was all planned. Well, why we got the parts. So I think so too. How was it to work so closely together?
Awful.
The pair star as Corlys Valerian and Princess Rhaenys Targaryen in the highly anticipated Game of Thrones prequel set 200 years before the original series.
I placed my heir upon the Iron Throne.
Complete with, as the name suggests, dragon riding.
They construct this big kind of creature, kind of like a fairground ride, and they put a saddle on it.
Is this like a featurette? I don't know. This is not really that interesting.
Yelling at you, more like you're on a motorbike, more like you're on a motorbike.
For Steve, this series means so much more. In the original book, his character is white, but the executive producers wanted this cast to represent the world we live in.
How do you feel being a part of it?
I feel like they should have made a show about the world we live in if they wanted to make a show that reflects the world that we live in. You know? Like, I don't feel like... This doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but it's whatever.
A drama which reflects the world we live in. One of the...
When it comes to, like, when you do, like, race and different things inside of castings, you know, I think that what's most important, sometimes they do it in ways that don't make sense. Not the fact that they're doing the whole diversity thing in the first place, because kind of like what I said, if you do these prequel series and then you throw in a lot of diversity,
the only thing you're setting up is like a big, massive racist genocide to happen at some point, so that the content later, it makes sense why there are only white people there. What I don't think is a really great storyline that we all want to be reliving in all of these shows. You know, 2-3 seasons down the line of House of Dragons and Rings of Power, you just have all the black people getting killed by the white people. I don't think that that's the line that really we want to be constantly having on screen. Like, but I think that's what we're going to be seeing in the mid to late 2020s. That's the kind of story that we're going to be seeing all across their television screens and all these high caliber shows.
Supporting artists came up to me and said, "It's so good to see you guys up there because representation matters." And so that I feel happy to be a small part of that.
Just like Game of Thrones, we have been promised grand and glorious costumes, which weren't always so comfortable for the cast.
Initially so fun, and then you wear it for half an hour and you're like, this is the heaviest thing I've ever worn.
Were they heavy?
I've got a trapped nerve from just, they like sort of like hinge on just like your points on your shoulders.
Do they really think that I cared about how heavy the costumes are? I don't know.
Difference is that
I thought this would be a 3-minute video about how much House of the Dragon takes on misogyny.
Series tackles misogyny head on. It tells the story of the Targaryen family ripped apart by power and the battle for women to claim the prized Iron Throne.
No queen has ever sat the Iron Throne.
Emma Darcy and Olivia Cook's characters are central to this.
Really, the reason we're both here is that it's a series that is directly investigating patriarchy, women and power.
Putting together a series that follows on from one of the most successful television franchises ever weighs on the mind of the cast and crew.
We're so aware that there is a legacy behind us, and
the legacy is that no one's going to watch the show anymore because the ending was terrible.
An incredibly, amazing and powerful legacy that we have to uphold, but also we have to do our own thing.
Enjoy it, watch it, please, we love you.
Please enjoy it.
House of the Dragon premieres today and is available to stream on Binge and watch on Foxtel.
I have no idea what Binge or Foxtel are. That's interesting. But I don't know. First of all, this video was boring. I don't I even thought that the video would kind of be boring, and this video ended up being more boring than I thought it would be. And again, I don't know how many misogyny shows we want. I don't know. Let's do Misogyny next.